They told you thinking too much was wisdom. They praised the ones who overanalyzed as deep, careful, cautious. But they never told you that overthinking is just fear wearing the mask of intelligence. They never told you that the most brilliant ideas die in the hands of those who hesitate. Because overthinking is not thinking at all. It is stalling, paralyzed by doubt, afraid of the unknown, consumed by what-ifs and maybes. The truth? Most people don't fail because they made the wrong decision. They fail because they made no decision at all. Think of the greats. Edison in his lab, surrounded by broken filaments and scorched glass, never once waiting for the perfect moment. He moved, he tried, and he failed forward 10,000 times. But the light bulb didn't come from thinking harder. It came from doing while the world waited and doubted. Overthinking is the enemy of action. It is the illusion of progress without the courage to commit. It will disguise itself as preparation while it steals your time, your energy, your peace. It feeds on perfectionism, but perfectionism is just procrastination with a better vocabulary. The truth is brutal and liberating. You don't need more time, you don't need more research, you don't need more opinions. You need to move, now, because your life is not waiting, and neither is your potential. Look around. Look at the ones who seem unstoppable. They're not better, they're not luckier. They've simply learned this truth. Clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you earn, and it's earned through action. You cannot think your way out of overthinking. You must act your way out of it. You must train your mind to interrupt its own spiral. The moment the loop begins, that anxious cycle of indecision, that endless rehearsal of failure and rejection, you must disrupt it. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Overthinking is a habit. So is execution. And like all habits, one will die when the other is fed. You must retrain your focus, not on what might go wrong, but what might go right. Not on the 1,000 paths to failure, but the single bridge to possibility. This is how bold lives are built. Not by knowing every step of the journey, but by taking the first one with trembling legs and a defiant heart. Think of Abraham Lincoln, a man who lost more elections than he won, whose life was riddled with rejection and sorrow. Yet he walked forward, each step uncertain, but driven by a vision stronger than his fear. He did not wait for reassurance. He acted in the presence of doubt. And history remembered the courage, not the fear. You must become addicted to forward motion, obsessed with progress, devoted to direction, not perfection, because perfection doesn't exist. And while you're waiting for it, someone else is building empires with messy hands and uncertain hearts. So how do you silence the voice of overthinking? You don't. You outwork it. You give it no seat at the table. You replace its noise with movement, with creation, with results. The mind that is occupied with building has no time to break itself down. The first weapon against overthinking is discipline. Discipline to shut off the doubt. Discipline to start. Discipline to move with incomplete information and make adjustments as you go. Because most answers only reveal themselves after you've made the leap. Steve Jobs didn't know if the iPhone would work. Walt Disney didn't know if anyone would show up to his dream called Disneyland. They didn't wait to eliminate all the risk. They built in its presence, so stop asking, what if I fail? Start asking, what if I never try? Because that question, the one you avoid, that's the one that should terrify you. The second weapon is belief. Overthinking is the child of insecurity. It thrives when you don't trust yourself. But belief, unshakable belief in your own power, is the antidote. And belief is not something you're born with. It's something you build. You build it every time you act in spite of fear. You build it every time you step into discomfort and refuse to shrink. You build it every time you speak when your voice shakes, leap when your legs tremble, move when your mind screams stop. Confidence is not a feeling, it's a decision to back yourself before the world ever does, to walk like a king before the crown exists, to claim a seat at the table while they're still questioning if you belong. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So ask yourself honestly, What kind of life are you mentally rehearsing right now? Are you scripting your failure before you've even tried? Or are you rehearsing success like it's already yours? Your thoughts shape your beliefs. Your beliefs shape your actions. And your actions, they shape your destiny. Then rewrite your inner script. Delete the lines of self-doubt, of I'm not ready, of I might mess it up. Burn the pages where fear wrote your future and replace them with a new narrative, one forged in clarity, courage, and relentless pursuit. Not a fantasy, but a declaration. I will move forward even if my hands shake. I will speak up even if my voice trembles. I will act even if I don't have every step mapped out. Because in this life, the bridge between who you are and who you could be is built brick by brick, with each courageous step forward. Understand this. Every empire that ever stood began with a single move. A hesitant one, perhaps. A move made under pressure, under doubt, with the weight of uncertainty hanging like a storm overhead. But it was a move, and that move changed everything. Success does not favor the overthinker. It rewards the doer. It rewards the one who stands in the storm and plants their flag anyway. The one who says, I may not have all the answers, but I've got the will to find them. You don't need to solve the entire puzzle today. You only need to place the next piece, and then the next, and the next. That's how greatness is built, not by avoiding every mistake, but by refusing to stop building after each one. So ask yourself, what are you truly afraid of? Failure? Rejection? Looking foolish? Let me ask you something even scarier. What if you never discover what you're capable of? What if you spend your whole life planning, doubting, hesitating, and the fire inside you dies before it ever got to blaze? Most people are not defeated by external forces. They are defeated by hesitation, by the belief that they need to be sure before they move. But no great builder waits for a windless day. No great captain waits for calm waters. They set sail anyway, because they believe in the destination, not just the map. Your mind was meant for more than cycling through worst-case scenarios. It was built to solve, to create, to dream, to drive you forward. But only if you take the wheel. Only if you stop giving fear the microphone. Replace what if I fail with what if I fly. Replace I'm not ready with I'm willing. Replace I'll do it later with I'm doing it now. And then, take the leap. The real leap. The kind where you don't just read the books, watch the videos, or make the plans. You act. You risk being wrong so you can discover what's right. And when your mind tries to pull you back into that loop, the anxious spiral that's kept you stuck for years, remind it of this. You are no longer the person who waits. You are the person who moves. And people who move build momentum, and momentum becomes magic. The world bends for those who dare. Life opens doors for the ones who knock hard enough. But it slams shut on those who hesitate too long. Overthinking is a luxury you can no longer afford. Your dreams are dying while you're analyzing. Your purpose is fading while you're over-preparing. Your future self is waiting, powerful, free, fearless, and wondering what the hell is taking you so long. This is not a rehearsal. This is your one shot, your singular life. So burn the script of doubt. Tear down the wall of what if. Walk through the fire of fear and watch who you become on the other side. Because the moment you act, the moment you decide, the moment you say, I am done waiting for permission to live fully, that is the moment your life begins. And you will feel it, that shift. The very second you stop looping thoughts and start taking action, your brain changes, your spirit changes, because nothing fuels confidence like evidence, and action is the proof, not theory, not potential, not dreams. But the fact that you moved, despite the noise, you see your mind learns from your behavior, and when it sees you acting boldly, it rewires itself around a new truth. I do not need certainty to act. I do not need permission to move forward. I only need one thing, the decision to begin. Let the overthinkers drown in analysis. Let the doubters keep waiting for the right time. You become the one who builds while they talk, the one who moves while they hesitate, the one who becomes while they rehearse. Look back at history. Not the filtered, celebrated version, but the truth. Every hero you admire had no idea what they were doing at the start. They didn't have perfect vision, they had conviction. They didn't have perfect plans, they had purpose. And that was enough. Rosa Parks didn't overthink the consequences. She made a choice. Neil Armstrong didn't wait for every system to be flawless. He took a step no human had ever taken. You don't need a guarantee, you need guts. Overthinking is fear disguising itself as logic. It sounds reasonable, it sounds cautious, but underneath it is the whisper, "What if I'm not enough?" Let me tell you something right now. You are enough. But no one will believe that until you do. Not because of what you say, but because of what you do. Your life is your argument. Your actions are your answer. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Stop treating your dreams like fragile glass and start treating them like fire. Feed them, fuel them, fan the flames. Because if you don't, overthinking will smother them before they even burn. You want clarity? Take a step. You want peace? Make a move. You want to become unstoppable? Start anyway, even if the fear is loud, even if your voice shakes, even if the path is foggy. Because motion reveals what fear tries to hide, your strength, your calling, your capability. Understand this. Every time you hesitate, you train your mind to expect danger. But every time you act, you teach your mind that you are safe in motion, that the unknown is not to be feared, it is to be conquered. Your brain is not broken. It's just been taught to seek comfort. So teach it something new. Teach it the thrill of movement, the freedom of decision, the satisfaction of building rather than stalling. It won't be easy, but nothing worth building ever is. And every time you override the fear, even just a little, your mind will recalibrate. You'll start to feel power where there was once panic. You'll start to feel clarity where there was once confusion. You'll start to feel alive again, because overthinking is not just mental exhaustion, it's emotional suffocation. And action is how you breathe again. And that first breath, that breath after the leap, that's the one that changes everything. It tastes like freedom, like possibility, like truth. Because deep down you've always known. You were not meant to live in loops. You were not built to rehearse regrets. You were born to move, to build, to become. But no one is coming to unlock that cage for you. You are the locksmith. And the key is not clarity, it's courage. Courage to trust yourself. Courage to be wrong, courage to walk into the fog and build your wings mid-flight. That's what every legend did. That's what every real success story is made of. People who didn't have the answers but had the audacity to begin. And that audacity made them unstoppable. Look at yourself right now and overthinking again, asking, what if I fail? You're missing the better question. What if I don't? What if this time you get it right? What if this time you break the cycle? What if this time you fly? Let that possibility light you up. Let it burn louder than fear. Because the moment that belief becomes stronger than your doubt, everything changes. You begin to make decisions not based on your fears, but on your vision. You no longer wait for a perfect plan. You become the plan. The living proof that progress is not about perfection. It's about momentum. And when the world sees you act without hesitation, it responds. Opportunities appear where before there were only walls. Connections spark. Ideas evolve. Doors you never knew existed begin to open, because action attracts energy. And energy attracts everything you thought was missing. Discipline becomes your ally. You stop letting feelings lead. You lead and let the feelings catch up. You show up every single day, not because you always feel like it, but because you've made a decision that this is who you are now, a person who doesn't wait to feel ready, a person who moves anyway, a person who creates their own clarity by taking action in the fog. That's the difference between those who make it and those who don't. Not talent, not intelligence, but follow through. A relentless refusal to let doubt dictate destiny. So from now on, treat overthinking like an old ghost. Let it whisper, let it knock, let it try, but never again let it in. Never again give it the driver's seat, because you have roads to take, mountains to climb, dreams to build with your own two hands. And none of that happens in pause. None of that happens in planning purgatory. It happens in the heat of now. Your life isn't waiting, neither should you. Now move. Because motion is your new identity, not wishful thinking, not analysis paralysis, but raw, deliberate, unstoppable forward motion. You are no longer the person who needs to know every step before you begin. You are the one who begins and figures it out while becoming unrecognizable in the process. You are the one who walks into uncertainty with eyes wide open, not because you aren't afraid, but because you've decided that your future matters more than your fear. And every time you choose action over anxiety, you reclaim power. Power over your mind, power over your life, power over the chains of overthinking that have bound your potential in silence for far too long. This is not a game. This is not theory. This is your one chance to break free, to tear out the roots of hesitation and plant the seeds of decisive living. And it starts not tomorrow, not next week, but now, right here, with the next move you were putting off. Forget waiting for motivation. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire. And from this point forward, you build your fire every single day, through repetition, through action, through doing the hard things while your old habits beg you to stay comfortable. But you no longer serve comfort. You serve growth. You serve purpose. You serve that version of you that is watching from the horizon, waiting for you to become bold enough to chase them. Do you want to know what separates those who think about change and those who become it? It's not knowledge. Everyone knows what they should do. It's not passion. Everyone feels a spark at some point. It's choice. It's that quiet, uncelebrated moment when no one's watching and you choose to act, to show up, to move forward. Anyway, without applause, without guarantees, without certainty. That is the moment your overthinking mind begins to lose its grip. Because every time you override the urge to analyze and instead choose to act, your brain rewires. It begins to see you not as the thinker, but the doer. And when that identity settles in, momentum becomes effortless. You no longer have to force it. You simply become it. Let them doubt you. Let them mock your pace, your imperfect strategy, your unpolished progress. Because while they rehearse hesitation, you are rehearsing revolution. You are becoming the kind of person who rises, not by thinking about it, but by moving into it, over and over, until the noise quiets, until the voices fade, until all that's left is you, moving forward with ruthless clarity, unshakable direction, and a heart that no longer flinches at the unknown. Because now you understand, overthinking is just unclaimed action. It's your mind begging for movement. And you are finally ready to give it what it needs. Action, discipline, decision, now. And with every decision you claim, with every hesitation you shatter, something incredible happens. The silence inside you begins to shift. What was once filled with doubt, with swirling thoughts and paralyzing what-ifs, becomes calm, focused, clear. Not because the chaos outside disappeared, but because you stopped feeding the chaos within. You stopped asking for permission to live boldly. You stopped needing approval to chase your path. You stopped waiting for the moment to feel right, and instead, you decided to make it right. This is the path walked by all who built legacies. Not the smooth path, not the safe one, not the one paved with certainty, but the one where every step was earned in the fire of fear, and taken anyway. Thomas Edison once said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." You know what that means? He didn't overthink failure. He didn't see failure as a signal to stop. He saw it as progress. Because in a world addicted to perfection, the man who keeps moving wins. Every single time. And you are becoming that person. The one who stops overcalculating. The one who finally understands. You are allowed to take messy steps toward a magnificent life. So take them. Take them while your hands shake. Take them while the voices scream. Take them while your heart beats loud with doubt. Because the only way to outrun the noise is to outmove it. You were not put here to shrink. You were not born to loop in your own mind until your dreams dissolve into dust. You were born to build, to break, to rise, and to become. And you cannot become anything if you do not move. The question is no longer, how do I stop overthinking? The question is, what would my life look like if I trusted myself completely? And the answer is this. It would look like freedom. It would look like courage. It would look like truth unleashed. When you strip away all the fear, when you remove the opinions, the pressure, the imaginary expectations, what's left is you, and that is enough. You, deciding. You, moving. You, facing the unknown with unshakable grit. Not waiting for the perfect wave, but building your damn boat and rowing through the storm. That's who you are now. Not an overthinker, not a doubter, but a builder, a mover, a doer. And the world will try to pull you back into the loop, back into the spiral, back into the endless comfort of paralysis disguised as logic. But now you know the truth, and the truth demands a response. Move. Not next week. Not when you're sure. Now. Because the clock is not pausing for you to decide. The world is not slowing down, so you can think it over again. Life is not interested in your reasons, your over-analysis, or your hesitation. It rewards those who move, those who commit, those who throw themselves into motion even when their legs are trembling and their path isn't lit. You don't need to be fearless to begin. You just need to be willing to walk through the fear and refuse to stop. Because here's the truth that overthinking keeps you from seeing. Every step you take makes the next one easier. Every move you make shatters the illusion that you're trapped. You were never trapped. You were only paused, stuck behind a wall built from your own thoughts. But you built that wall, and you can tear it down. Take a sledgehammer to hesitation. Strike at the doubt that told you to wait. Smash the scaffolding of what if that has hovered over your dreams like a storm cloud. Let your action be thunder. Let your will be lightning. Let your movement shake the sky. And in that shaking, in that chaos, you will find something sacred, power. The kind of power that doesn't come from books or plans. It comes from the fire inside you, the ancient force that generations before you used to rise from dust and carve nations from nothing. That same power is in you. It's the fire that made Carnegie out of a boy in poverty. The will that drove Oprah through abuse and silence into global voice. The raw belief that turned Elon Musk's obsession into revolution. None of them waited until the plan was perfect. They moved with what they had, and what they had, more than resources, was a refusal to stay stuck. Do you hear it now? That quiet knowing in your gut? That truth that's been trying to speak louder than your fear? It says, it's time. Time to stop consuming and start creating. Time to stop doubting and start deciding. Time to stop being afraid of what might happen and start becoming the person who makes things happen. And when you do, when you finally shift from overthinking into unstoppable movement, something incredible happens. You don't just change your habits, you change your identity. You stop seeing yourself as the person who hesitates. You become the one who executes, the one who moves mountains by moving first. The one who acts with intensity, who wakes up with clarity, who lives with direction. And yes, mistakes will come. Of course they will. But now, instead of seeing them as proof you're failing, you'll see them as the bricks in your foundation. Because you're building something now, something real, something solid. And real builders don't stop at setbacks, they build through them. You've wasted enough time trying to make the perfect move. Now it's time to make the next move, and then another, and another, until motion becomes your nature, until hesitation feels foreign, until your old identity and the overthinker, the doubter, the one who needed every answer before beginning, fades like a ghost in the rearview mirror. And what's left? A force, a creator, a mind on fire with purpose and a body trained in discipline, someone who doesn't flinch at risk, someone who doesn't crumble at uncertainty. Someone who understands that clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. Every time you act without complete certainty, you strengthen your spirit. Every time you choose movement over paralysis, you deepen your courage. Every time you do the hard thing before you're ready, you grow into someone who's more than ready for anything, And you know what else happens? You start winning. Not always in big, obvious ways, but in daily momentum, in deeper confidence, in the way your energy shifts when you're in flow. You become addicted, not to planning, not to perfection, but to progress, to seeing things change because you made them move. That's what the overthinker never feels, because they're waiting for life to show them the next step, while you're carving steps from stone with your own hands. And when the world sees it, when people begin to notice you don't hesitate anymore, they'll ask you, "What's changed? Why are you so sure now? Where did this certainty come from?" And you'll smile, because you'll know it didn't come from answers. It came from action. It came from doing the damn thing scared, again and again and again, until fear had nothing left to say. This isn't about becoming someone else. This is about becoming yourself, fully. The version of you that's been trapped beneath layers of doubt, buried under what-ifs, muffled by the noise of overthinking. That version is not gone. It's just been waiting for you to make one bold choice, to stop analyzing your life and start living it. So live it, loud, decisively, on purpose, every single day. Let the world belong to the thinkers. You'll own the world because you moved. You'll build while they hesitate. You'll grow while they plan. You'll rise while they spiral, because you made the most important shift of all. You stopped thinking about changing your life, and you changed it. Right now, right here, for good, forever.